Jim Shea again, my guest, Good Shepherd parishioner in Colleyville. And tell us about how you got into prison ministry and exactly how is the parish-based prison ministry program organized?
Oh, I'd love to. I guess the way I first got into this, I started thinking about it a number of years ago. Actually, and this was probably before my faith really grew to where it is now. My oldest son, at 21 years old, ended up becoming incarcerated in the Texas State prison system for 4 years. And at the time, my wife, my daughter, we visited him every 2 weeks, no matter where he was in the state. And I'll tell you, that experience is one of the things that really helped me start growing my faith.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's nothing worse than seeing one of your children go through the process of becoming incarcerated.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously that would be, it's just devastating to a parent. And, you know, at the same time, that's when I really started reaching out to God and Christ and becoming more prayerful and what have you. But at the same time, it opened my eyes to this other population of people that exist out there that I'll tell you, I never gave 2 bits worth of thought to before. I used to be one of those guys that, you know, lock them up, throw away the key.
Yeah.
But then when I saw my son in there, somebody who came from, you know, a good family and all that, grew up with his brothers and sisters in the same environment, but made a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
And made a dumb mistake.
Yeah.
Then you look at all these other people in there going, well, a lot of them made some really dumb mistakes too.
Right, right.
And they are somebody else's.
And we've all made dumb mistakes. They don't all end us up in prison, but you're right. I mean, gosh, they're but for the grace of God. Yeah.
Well, that's right. And then you see that, and I've heard so many stories since then about people and their loved ones who became incarcerated, and then they're disowned.
Yeah.
Their families just totally divorced them, basically, and all of a sudden these people are estranged from their families and friends, and they have nobody. So anyway, I think the Holy Spirit was working on me for a number of years, and finally I realized that, hey, look, I don't have to be a Bible scholar. I don't have to be a counselor. I have this incredible urge to just live the gospel, and for some reason, living the gospel meant I need to provide some sort of service to others, to somebody else. So Matthew 25 kept ringing in my head, because at the same time I was learning more about the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
And this whole idea of the least important among us, meaning, you know, the sick, the homeless, and what have you, also the prisoners. And that really struck me at the time. And Matthew 25 says, visit. It doesn't say you've got to teach them anything. It doesn't say you have to be their counselor, therapist. You just have to treat them with dignity and respect.
Mm-hmm.
And so I signed up and volunteered, and somehow, very quickly, I became kind of the facilitator of the parish program of several people who had been in there for 15 plus years. But somehow I ended up being the guy that ended up talking to the prison officials and just orchestrating, coordinating, and getting things done, and helping our volunteers from Good Shepherd go in and actually provide this service to the inmates. And I'll tell you, it's just such a rich experience, especially participating in a mass at the prison in such humble surroundings. I don't think I felt the presence of Christ anywhere strong as being in the basement, and that's where we had mass at the prisons. You're in the basement and you're around ductwork and noise and just a very simple altar and very simple everything, but then you see almost 70 to 100 men come in there and participate in the celebration of the Eucharist. Is just, it's an undescribable feeling.
Yeah, let me just remind everybody, I'm speaking to Jim Shea. He is basically the lead at Good Shepherd Parish in Colleyville with prison ministry there, and we are doing a live broadcast today. Midcities Dental want to have you come over here because we have food, and we have drinks, and we have coffee, and we have chicken nuggets, little biscuits from Chick-fil-A, and also a chance for you to win a $50 Visa gift card just for showing up and getting into a drawing. So come on by and see us, 556 286 Bedford Euless Road, Sweetie, Hurst, Texas 76053. You can also check out midcitiesdental.com and click the direction thing on your smartphone and get on over here. But you got to be here before 10 o'clock because that's when the broadcast ends. And Jim, you're such a great spokesperson for what you do, and I'm writing down notes as you're speaking, and I couldn't help when you said you go to the basement for the Mass, and it almost seems metaphorical for where many of these guys are in their lives. They're in the basement. I mean, they're very down, and obviously they got into prison in the first place for something really stupid, as you mentioned. But it also, from my own experience, because I have some experience with visiting people in prison, is that it's also a time when many of them are very open to God's grace. Have you found that to be that in that circumstance, the lowest point of their life, they sometimes reach out to God, maybe more so than even those of us outside prison?
Dave, you are very insightful. I have never seen anything like it, and I think that's what inspires so many of us to want to or look forward to going every other week. At this particular prison, it's the federal prison in South Fort Worth, where the Good Shepherd prison ministry folks go to participate and facilitate a Catholic program. But the folks that we get in there, usually we'll get about 30 people on average, 30 inmates on average to every program that we have. And I'll tell you, these are the folks that are looking for forgiveness. They have truly humbled themselves. They have placed themselves truly in God's hands. And I'll tell you, to a man that comes in there, said prison is the best thing that happened to them because that stripped them of all the other distractions, that took them away from what they know now is their purpose in life, and that is getting much closer to God. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you, I think we get more out of the visits than they get from us. Yeah, we get more from them than they get from us, I have to say. And they keep saying, no, that's not true. But so I think we all benefit. It's amazing how when you provide service to others, that everybody benefits from that.
Yeah. Yeah, you just kind of step outside yourself, and then, like you say, you realize once you start it, it's like, wow, this is really a blessing to me, and so it's just such a mutual benefit between them and also you. Jim Shea's my guest, and he's at Good Shepherd Catholic Community, Colleyville Prison Ministry. Many people listening right now, Jim, are not in Colleyville or even in this area. They may be in Waxahachie or Weatherford or Denison. And do most parishes have something like this, or if the average person listening says, gosh, I'd like to do something like that, what would be their first step, or how might they be involved?
Well, I have to tell you, there's really no centralized, organized prison apparatus, I guess, at least in the Fort Worth Diocese, that quite frankly, that I'm aware of. I know in the Dallas Diocese, through the diocesan offices, there are a couple of deacons there that have orchestrated a pretty good prison network. And I would say that anybody, at least on the Dallas side, if they feel like they would like to get involved in prison ministry, to contact the Dallas Diocese offices and ask for the prison ministry folks, okay? And there's a couple of deacons, I can't remember their names right now, but again, they have a great network. Now on the Fort Worth side, I've got to tell the listeners out there that the best way, if you want to get involved, contact me. Because I've been somewhat, I guess, considered, at least by the Dominican Priory in Irving, who does an awful lot of volunteer priest work in the Fort Worth Diocese prisons. They usually tell people to contact me because I do have a pretty good network around the area, and I can certainly help advise people as to what they think they would like to do and how I might be able to match them up with the appropriate place, the appropriate activities. For example, there are faith-based programs that people can get involved in. There's administering Holy Communion that people can get involved in. There's actually education for those that are in the have the educational spirit. For example, my wife and I do Dave Ramsey actually we just started another 9 weeks program on Sundays at the Fort Worth Federal Prison, South Fort Worth, and it's a Dave Ramsey Financial Peace University. A wonderful program, you get to meet some great guys, and it's all faith-based. So there's an awful lot of different kinds of activities. Actually, Catholic Charities is getting very much involved now. One of the things that I've noticed that really grabbed my heartstrings was the fact that there are several inmates that get released homeless. And they get released homeless around the country in different places. So I'm working with Catholic Charities now to help, not so much sponsor these folks, but to help me also place these people and get them transferred to a location where they're going to thrive and not just end up being homeless and then get back into the cycle again and getting in prison. So we're looking for mentors, we're looking for transitional volunteers as well to help with this whole process. So there's a lot of different opportunities for folks depending upon what your needs are.
And Jim, I wouldn't have to cut off. I just have another about 30 seconds or so, or a minute, but I appreciate so much. How can people get a hold of you? Do you have an email or phone number? Do you want to give that out?
Yes, it's prison ministry at gscc.net.
Okay, as in Good Shepherd Catholic Community, prison ministry at gscc.net, and that'll be for Jim Shea, S-H-E-A, and then you can just contact you directly, right?
Contact me that way, then I'll call them back and we can talk about it.
All right, get the ball rolling, right?
Yes.
Okay, Jim, thank you so much. I appreciate you coming out here this morning. I hope that visit with Dr. Eberlein goes well for you this morning. I hope it.
Well, I do too. You know I do.
We'll be saying a prayer for you in case, there's any, pulling teeth out or anything like that. We'll see. Better you than me, that's all I can say.
Well, I see Father Eldridge made it, so I will probably ask Father Eldridge to give me a blessing when the drill starts up.
All right, very good. Great talking to you. Again, if you want to get in contact with Jim Shea and ask any questions about prison ministry, and even if you're not in the Colleyville area or around here, he can at least direct you to the right people in either diocese. Sounds like he's got a lot of contacts. Prison ministry at gscc.net. Okay, Jim Shea, prison ministry at Good Shepherd Catholic Community.